How y'all doing? It's Judge Lynn. I have had the most ridiculous morning known to man. If you don't stop that, no. They whine a lot when I start this. I'm only on here for a few minutes. But anyway, I've been fussing with people all morning. People I never expected to fuss with. I don't know how it happened. I don't even know what I'm fussing about. All I know is it's just been one morning. I don't know what to tell you. So I just came in here and I was going to have a big doll house because I had a whole new. And yeah, I know my shirt's dirty. Don't even worry about it. Because I come in here, this is a dirty room, dirty shirt. And ain't nobody here but me and the kid. He was helping me scrape, though. He does a good job. He was helping me with the thing. But I was going to have this big reveal, but then I realized I had screwed it all up. Now I am scraping wallpaper off of walls. So instead of having an interesting day, I'm going to have just a tedious one. But I do want to show you one little thing I did. I know, like, I'm a 12-year-old, but ain't nobody interested in what I do, so you have to be interested. See, I got this thing, and then I sewed it all the way up, turned it inside out, and I'm trying to do decorative trim. So I'm in my decorative trim phase. Now, I know this looks tacky, and it ain't there yet, but you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And I showed you my little throw blanket. It's still too big, you know? I needed some. I tried to do it with yarn this big, but I'm sorry, I've gotten all into that, and y'all ain't interested. I had two questions. The first question was a fast, interesting one. One said, "What is your connection to Wayne State?" Because I always wear that Wayne State shirt. First of all, it was a gift from Pam. Pam buys me gifts every Christmas, not every Christmas, every birthday, and she always gets me the perfect stuff, my favorite shirts, and they always have to do with Detroit because that's where she lives. She gives me a 313 shirt. She had my favorite. You hear me? It said established. No, it said established. 1959 Motown. And I was born in 1959 and I loved it. And it was the perfect thing. But it was the shirt that I was wearing the day Eric died. And so now it's tucked back up in a closet where I can't see it. But she got me another shirt for my next Christmas, my birthday, and it was from Wayne State. Now I just personally I like the texture and I like the feel of it. It's the right weight and it's full length. It's just perfect for me inside. So the connection is she's in Detroit and she likes Detroit stuff. So she sends me Detroit stuff and she knows what I like. So I wear them. Now, there is, however, another connection to me in Wayne State, which is my mother used to put on the right front shock at the Chevy plant, and then she went to Wayne State. She would work at the Chevy plant at night. It was always the right front shock. I don't know what car, Chevy, whatever. I don't know if that's a brand or I don't know anything about it, but she said she put on the right front shock. Right front shock, right front. I don't know what was involved. But that's what she's talking about it all the time. So, and she went to Wayne State for a hot second until she met Daddy and moved to Columbus and created my sister and I. And that's my sister, Kathy, that I talk about all the time. She's a board-certified neurologist. That's why. And that's why I call my. Someone asked me, "How are you gonna call yourself the family fair?" I said, "Because we were supposed to be doctors. I went to college and just did everything but learn, and so I didn't go to class or nothing." And she became, I became a lawyer by default because the LSAT was the only thing I knew I could do well at without having learned anything for the past 4 years. Isn't that sad? I have read more books outside of school than in school, and I was an English major. I remember they made us read Beowulf in Middle English. I hated it ever since. But anyway, enough about my travails in school. I don't even know how I got on that. Oh, we were talking about Wayne State. So that's my connection to Wayne State. It's Pam and just in an ancillary fashion, my mother. Now, I'm not going to cut it. Don't worry, I ain't cutting nothing today. But if you see, I've kind of got my hands out of my hair. I took the relaxer. The relaxer was the problem. I have been having a relaxer in my hair, and I took it out like a year ago. I just love it. Just love it. You can kind of put the goo on it, put your hat on, dry the goo, just a little bit and bump, and then I'm done. Don't look like, but I'm presentable. A couple of somebodies over the year have asked me a question about TPOs. Oh, it's so dirty. It's even dirtier on the inside. I do like this with my hands all day long because I got glue, I got paint on my phone. I'm not a tidy chick. But anyway. I spent 2 hours this morning trying to pick out an outfit. I gotta go somewhere tomorrow. I spent 2 hours trying to pick out an outfit. And every outfit I had was either too big, too flashy, or too unaccommodating of Jill and Joan. Because Jill and Joan like to get known. They like to come out. Jill more than Joan. I don't know, all my life. Jill has always been the problem. I bend over and Jill want to come out. I don't like that. So, and then I'm such a fool that now that I'm sewing these little things, I went and sewed up. One of them had a real deep V, and I don't like that, so I sewed it up. I don't even know what it looks like, so we're going to see if I can wear that. But it takes me forever to do that kind of thing. I just like it. Then I have to put on shoes, and I haven't worn high heels in forever, like 3 years or so. And I'm walking around like a little kid in her mother's outfit. I just look, and I'm just standing in front of the mirror and says, well, now what goes with this? And I kept changing and changing and changing and changing. And finally I wrote it with a black jumpsuit and a yellow shirt and a yellow jacket. That's what's going to happen tomorrow, where I'm going to have to go see reasonable people. It's an investment seminar. Just to get out, get there, might learn something. I didn't put any mascara on. Well, interesting enough. But anyhow, I was going to tell you something else when I got sidetracked by the clothes, which was ridiculous. Oh, people were asking me about, people write me on occasion and tell me certain facts and say, do I have a case? Can I get a TPO from this? Can I get a TRO from this? Blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, asking a lawyer who's not working for you and is going to give you some information is free. That information is exactly worth what you paid for it, which is nothing, because when you ask people like me about something specific factually, state laws are different. Local communities have different way they handle different things on their dockets, and I would be only just that's why they don't let lawyers do that kind of thing. I'm only licensed to practice in some places, but it's just not it's worth it to just hop into a lawyer's office for an hour and just lay it out and see what it is. And especially when you're talking about TPOs and TROs, those are very local. In other words, how they run their TPOs. Some of them have ex parte TPOs or TROs, and they call it different things: temporary restraining orders, temporary protection orders. Some are associated with domestic violence. Others are just like getting a TPO against your neighbor. But so all of that is so local and so specific. The only thing that I have to say to those of you who are inquiring as to whether or not, do you think I have enough for a TPO or a TRO is, I wouldn't know. But what I would do is document everything. Judges don't want to. And I remember when stalking laws were just getting on the books back in the 90s, when I was like, and people want to tell you how they feel and how hurt and how upset, and they want to tell you the whole story. And I understand it because it's their life and it's a struggle. And it's been deep and it's been dark and it's been quite a while. But what we need to know is what happened and when and how recent was it, and is there a pattern? So what you need to do when you're thinking, I may need to get a restraining order or protection order, document, screenshot, put dates on things, just have a running log of what is going on, take pictures, save all your text, keep it in order so they have to see a pattern of action that needs to be stopped. And it can't be he's been hurting me for 30 years over here, or she's been, talking bad about me all her life. It has to be what specific acts. And then you have to have the statute in the states that considered, a consecutive one or two or three more acts that have put a reasonable person, that would put a reasonable person in fear. But you got to know the specific statutes and the thing, and all of that's really local. But the one thing I can tell you is look at it as far as evidentiary concerns. Don't just let it upset you and then, okay, at 10:10, document when you call the police. Go make sure you can get a copy of all the police reports. There are a whole lot of things that you can do to bolster a case like that. You just have to keep your wits about you, but you also just have to document what's happening, because I got to see what's going on, and I got to see that there's something that's going on right now that I need to make stop. You see, that's my 10 cents on that. And so last thing I'm going to do is tell you a joke. Old joke somebody told me about in Atlanta 10 years. I don't live in Atlanta, by the way. I get invited out a lot to Atlanta, and I don't live there. But anyway, so here's the joke. John went to the pharmacist. He says, I've met this lovely woman, and I think we're going to make love for the first time, and I want to make sure about all of the condoms and all the kind of good, I want to do it right, and I want to be kind and loving, and what would you suggest? And the pharmacist was so touched by it and the things they were saying and all that kind of stuff. And then the guy said, so where are you going? So I'm meeting her tonight for dinner. I'm going to meet her family, and it's going to be wonderful. And, and then we're going to go away for the weekend. So I was like, oh, okay, that sounds lovely. So the guy leaves, goes home, then he goes over to dinner at his girlfriend's house, and everybody was sat for dinner. He says, we got to wait for a little while until the father comes home. And when the father comes home, John raises his arms up, lowers his head, and says, let us all pray. And so everybody was like, look around. He said, what is wrong with this dude? So everybody sat down and started praying. And he was praying and praying. It was the longest prayer they ever heard. Just praying and praying and praying and praying. And his head down. And his girlfriend finally leaned over and said, I wish you would have told me you were this religious. And then John leaned over to her and said, I wish you told me your father was a pharmacist. I thought it was fun. If you have a question you want to ask me, go down there to Ask Judge Lynn. Or if you want to buy any of my books, they're down there too. Y'all have a good day. I'm on adjust my attitude. I always get cheery on here, which is nice. I don't got to think about, what else is going on. I don't even know what else is going on. I'm confused. And then I ask you, do you want some advice? Y'all have a good day.